Are you tired of being around people who just don't get you? Have you been putting yourself out there but not able to find anybody that matches your vibe? You're not alone. Making friends, especially as an adult, is hard. My name's Coach Lee. I'm a social connections coach, and I want to help you find your tribe. I have a 3-step coaching program for groups and individuals that's designed to help you get to the right place, to meet the right people, to have the right kind of conversations that leave you feeling fulfilled, appreciated, and understood. After going through the Find Your Tribe coaching program, you'll discover who it is that you really want to be connected to, how to find those people, and what you need to talk about so that your relationship moves from an acquaintanceship to a close friendship. And with this program, you won't be on this journey alone. You'll have access to a private community in which there are others who are just as intentional about making the kind of connections you are. You'll also have access to live events like weekly Q&As, speed friending, and much more. You'll be able to practice your skills in a safe environment and feel confident to connect authentically when you get out into the real world. If you're ready to get started on making meaningful connections and lasting relationships, then apply to the coaching program by using the link in the show notes. Hey, what's going on? My name is Coach Lee Hopkins. My pronouns are he, him, his, and you're listening to the Patterns of Possibility podcast. This is a podcast dedicated to helping you replace harmful patterns with new possibilities. In each episode, we'll explore topics that inspire you to be yourself, live your truth, and make lasting connections. In this episode, we're going to talk about what it means to ghost and why it's okay to do it. Go ahead and fight me on that, but it's okay to do it. If you need to get out of this space, then get gone. I swear I'm going to remove that stigma that comes with ghosting. You are not responsible for anybody's feelings. By the end of this episode, you're going to understand 2 reasons why you might want to ghost. And if you've been ghosted, here are 2 reasons why people have ghosted you. Are you ready? Let's go. Raise your hand if you've been ghosted. Okay, you can't see my hand, but it's up. And I can't see your hands, but I'm sure it's up. Maybe if you're listening to this podcast, you've had an experience where you've been ghosted and you can't understand why. Or you've wanted to ghost people, or you've done the ghosting and you feel kind of guilty about it. I'm here to help you really reconcile those 2 pieces. I firmly believe, as I said in the introduction, that it is absolutely 100% okay for you to ghost people. If you're unfamiliar with ghosting, it means that you stop talking to a person without letting them know that you're going to stop talking to them. You just abruptly disappear. You stop talking to them. And I believe that it's absolutely okay to do this. In the relationships that you have with other people, it's okay for them to do this, and it's okay for you to do this. I'm going to give you permission for this. And you might hate me, you get mad at me, fine, whatever. That's cool. That's fantastic. I understand. But just hear me out. Hear me out, because if it's too much for you, if you feel like people need to be responsible for your feelings, I hear you. But when you ghost people, when you stop talking to them, I think that there are reasons to do this. It doesn't just happen abruptly. There are reasons that is built in for you to actually do the ghosting. There's something that continues to happen in your life that has programmed you to ghost people. That is, you stop talking about how you feel and you just stop talking to them altogether, disappear. Whatever it is, maybe you don't want to face consequences. Maybe you don't understand what the situation is like. Maybe it's a situation that you don't want to be in any longer. You just decide that you're not going to be there and you do that. And usually the other person's lost and confused and they're like, why did you do this? I don't understand it, because there's a pattern of behavior that both of you had missed. There's a pattern of behavior that happens that leads you to ghost, and there's a pattern of behavior that leads the person who's ghosted to wonder why that happened. There's something in the dynamic in the relationship that continues to happen where people just disappear without talking about their feelings. And I think that is really important. It's a key to the situation. One person may be able to talk about their feelings and the other person might not be able to. That's the thing that happens in relationships. But I promise you 2 reasons why you might not continue to hang out with another person, or you might ghost another person. And for my own, this is from my own experiences, because I have been ghosted and I'm not sure if I've ghosted anyone, but maybe, I don't know. But yeah, I don't know. You're like, what? You don't know? You don't know if you just stop talking to somebody? I just can't think of a time that I had. I know because I've been rejected a lot, so it's more like a lot of people have just rejected me and just ghosted me. So I'm like, can I think of a time where I was the one who rejected? No. I find that really funny because I'm pretty awesome these days. I feel like I understand why they would ghost me back in the day. But here are two reasons. Here are two reasons if you don't really know, if you want some insight and clarity about it. This is what I've experienced, and I only talk about from things from my experience. So people are likely to ghost for two reasons. If you've been expressing your feelings and you've been heard or haven't been heard. So you've been expressing your feelings and they haven't been heard. So you stop trying to talk to them. Like you say every time, like, hey, man, this hurts my feelings, or hey, I'm uncomfortable with this. And then you try and tell them, like, this is the behavior that I don't want you to do anymore. And you tell them the next time, this is the behavior that I don't like from you. Please don't do it. And they continue to do that stuff. It's like, what else can you do? What else can you do? You can get physical with it if you want. Maybe pop them upside the head. Like, hey, this is the thing I told you not to do. You're doing it again, but it just escalates the situation. And if you decide not to put energy into escalating the situation, then it's likely that you won't put any energy into it at all. You'll start protecting yourself and investing in yourself. That's another reason. That's a reason why you might ghost. You're like, well, this person isn't listening to me. I've said it once, twice, 5,000 times, and they just don't appear to get it. I'm done teaching them. I have to go. And this is why I think ghosting is okay, because some people will learn only when they let go or when they lose you. That's the only time people will learn. They're like, oh, well, maybe it was me. they'll get to like, I did. Or they can go into their, victim mentality and be like, well, I did everything and that person just left me. They just ghosted me. They could, whatever. But the point is that you're not responsible for that. You're not responsible for that. You're only responsible for you. You're only responsible for you. So that's why I'm like, ghosting is okay. If you've talked and said it once, twice, 10,000 times, and they're not listening to you, don't put yourself through that mental anguish. You don't owe them an explanation for why you're going to leave, because they're not going to hear it anyway. They're not. Some people pick up on the physical cues of you not being in their space and not answering their phone to realize that they have messed up, right? Not your problem. It will never be your problem. Your objective here in this life is to heal yourself and to understand more about yourself. What they're going to do, I promise you with this, because I've been rejected so many times, I've been ghosted so many times, what they're going to do with that is they're going to reflect on their feelings. Hopefully, they'll go to someone and reflect on what may have happened to have that ghosting happen, especially if it's something that appears in their life. So not only is it important for you to protect your feelings, but when you do that, you provide an opportunity for them to reflect. Because if you're talking to them and they're not changing, it's not working. If you really want change, then unfortunately, you won't be the one who receives that change, because you won't be there. You're gone. So the first reason why you may want to ghost or might decide to ghost is that you've been expressing your feelings and you don't feel heard. They're not listening to you. Number two, the second reason is you're not sure about how to share your feelings. You don't know what to say. So you might not even try. You're like, oop, this is awkward. I'm out of here. I'm gone. This happened to me, actually. So I'm a transgender man, as you know, hopefully, I've listened to the podcast for a while. I'm a transgender man. And some years ago, I had gone out to try and make friendships. The whole reason why I do this coaching, social connections coaching and stuff, is because I sucked at friendships. I didn't know how to do it. I didn't know how to connect with people authentically. So I got some skills as in understanding more about me and my feelings and how to express them. So I learned more about that. And then I started to think positively too. And so one day, putting it all together, I'm like, I'm going to go make some friends. I'm going to go to this comedy club and I'm going to connect with somebody, because I just, positive thinking, manifestation, those things. I'm going to meet at least one person. We're going to have a great conversation and we're going to have a great connection. That was my mindset going in. And I wanted to make sure that I was going to be able to be my authentic self. This is where the trans piece come in, because I've been hiding that for a while and I really wanted to be open. I mean, I figured that people that I connect with should be able to hear that I'm trans and not freak out about it. right? That's the very minimum piece that I was looking for. All right, so I go to this club. I meet this cool guy. It's a comedy club, by the way. There's not like, that's not really happening. We're just having conversation in between comedy sets. So I meet this cool guy where he's having a beer. I'm having a beer. We're talking. And I lean the conversation towards LGBT stuff. I'm like, yeah, I wonder how he thinks about it. Not feeling that I'm trans yet. I'm just kind of curious about what's going on in his mind, if he's going to try and bite me or attack me or whatever, But he said, well, I've never seen a trans person before, but I don't have a problem with them. And I thought, great, this is fantastic. I'm going to tell you about me and you're going to be fine with it because you want to learn. I imagined that they wanted to learn. They didn't say anything like this. It's just what I imagined. So I reveal I'm trans. And he's like, oh, he stops talking, period. Nothing more comes out of his face. He puts down his beer and he leaves. Not just my sight, but the entire venue. Gone. I feel like that's ghosting. We weren't totally emotionally invested like maybe you and your friends have been over several months, maybe even years. But I feel like that was the same thing. It was rejection right in front of me. And this person wasn't sure about how to share his feelings about the shock, the whatever he experienced when looking at me saying, ooh, wow, this is a trans person? I mean, like, you thought that you could recognize us. You thought that you could recognize one just, you know how they look. Wrong. And it shook his whole world. He just didn't have any idea how to express that. So that might happen to you on a smaller scale. If you have not been taught to deal with your emotions, it's going to be hard for you to articulate them. You don't even know what they are, let alone how to share them with another person. You're going to leave. You're going to leave. Again, I'm all about protecting your own mental health and your own wellness. If that feels right to you, then it does. Hopefully you will go and you will get some reflection and understanding about what was so dang scary or why you couldn't articulate your feelings, what was going on with you. That's for your own health. And the person who has been ghosted by you, what they're going to do is realize that it's not their responsibility to try and get those feelings out of you. It's not their responsibility to take care of you. You go and you take care of yourself. You go figure that stuff out. And then maybe someday you can come back. If the other person wants to hear your explanation, then boom, they do. And you get some closure. But it's not their responsibility to chase you down. Why'd you do this? Why'd you do that? No. And even if they were chasing you like that, that wouldn't feel any comfortable because you don't know why. You don't know why. You would just run even further. You run even faster, run even farther from them because they're trying to force you to do something that you're not ready for. That's expressing your feelings. If you don't know that they are there, what they are, and how to express them, it's going to be difficult. And having somebody put pressure on you to do so, ghost, goodbye, gone. Go figure your stuff out. Go figure it out. So I firmly believe that nobody has to take care of anybody else's feelings here. You don't have to take care of somebody else's feelings. They don't have to take care of yours. You're not responsible for theirs. It's that's what it is. And people will say to me, well, how dare you? How could you say that it's okay to ghost? I just told you. So if anybody says anything like that and you don't know what to say, just, point them to this podcast. I also have another episode about, what happens when you are ghosted, like what to do when you are ghosted too. Because I think it's a phenomenon. Like, we are responsible for our own feelings. We can't force anybody to tell us, especially if they don't know why they feel the way they do or what they're doing. And if somebody's not listening to you, I would not recommend that you continue to try and tell them and explain to them when they're hell-bent on not understanding you. It just doesn't make any sense. So here are those 2 reasons why you might ghost. You've been expressing your feelings and you haven't been heard. Don't do it. Stop trying. You're not sure about how you're to express your feelings, so don't try. You can't. You don't know how to. Don't do it. And listen, my ghosty friends, if you're the ones who's ghosting, it doesn't feel good for you either, I'll bet, to be all alone again when you wanted to have a relationship with somebody. You really need to figure that stuff out so that you can get the kind of connections that you want. I'll be right back with the Answer Reddit question. Hey, this is Coach Lee Hopkins here. I just want to let you know that you're awesome and your feelings matter. I know the holidays are fast approaching, and if you're going home to a family to be surrounded by people who don't believe that your feelings matter, and you constantly get caught up in the fighting and the frustrations, the woulda, coulda, shouldas, the obligations that you have with family, I want to empower you to break those generational patterns of disdain and distrust. On October 9th, for 4 weeks, I will be releasing content from my masterclass, Friends with Family. This content from Friends with Family is going to help you develop skills to be more grounded in yourself so that you can actually connect with your family. By the end of the 4 weeks, you're going to learn to create more connecting and curious conversations. You'll also learn how to navigate high drama topics without getting drawn into a conflict. Now, this course is not going to fix deep-seated problems that you might have with your family members, and it won't heal any traumas that you've experienced. It's going to help you communicate more authentically, to empower you to have regular conversations and actually connect with your family. Each week, I'm going to release a video for you to watch on demand as you want. And then I will be answering questions on a live Q&A on the coming Friday. If this interests you, it's absolutely free to join, absolutely free to follow along. There's no obligation. It's my sincere hope that more of us out there who are breaking those generational patterns to not just stop the pain from moving forward, but to really become friends with our family. If you want to be a part of this, we start October 9th. Check the link in the show notes. All right, now it's time for the Reddit friendship advice question. If you have a friendship advice question that you think I should answer, tag me in it on Reddit. My handle is Brilliant and Resilient. That's Brilliant, the letter N, Resilient. How to talk to a friend about fatphobic comments. Hey y'all, I'm 27, a female. I've been struggling with a friend who is 29 and also a female, making body negative comments and fatphobic comments. For example, she loves to model and post photos on Instagram, but she'll stare at her photos and ask me if she looks chunky or pregnant. I tell her I'm not answering her questions because being fat is not a bad thing. And I'll ask her not to make comments like that in the future. She always disregards what I say and continues to make comments. So one day, I just straight up told her she's being fat phobic. This backfired as she said I'm making her feel like a bad person. She argued that her comments are justified because her small weight gain is a sign she's being unhealthy. To which I replied that she should be focused on lifestyle changes, eating healthier, exercising more, instead of what she looks like. She always gets defensive and comes up with an argument. For example, if I say, I don't like my nose, does that make me nose phobic? Ridiculous. All right. And the Redditor continues to say, and I don't know what to do. I understand she probably has body dysmorphia, but she is not discriminated on based on her weight by any means. I told her that her comments make me feel insecure about my body because I was pretty chubby as a kid and I've always dealt with weight fluctuations my entire life. I find her comments are pretty triggering. Because I'm not great at explaining myself, I've asked her to listen to a few podcasts that have helped me unpack my own internalized fat phobia, but she refuses. I feel like she doesn't respect me or my opinions, and honestly, I'm tired of listening to her offensive comments. She also points to fatphobic things that her dad has said or the media has portrayed in the past, and I get we're all victims of toxic diet culture, but to me, it's important to unpack it so we don't further victimize others. Has anyone dealt with anything similar or have any advice on how to talk to her in a way that she might be receptive to? Thanks. All right, Redditor, this was a pretty dope post. I really like it because I feel like you were really open and honest about your thoughts and your feelings, and I don't think you tried to run her, push her under the bus or something like that. I think that's the saying. You weren't trying to blindside her. I think you gave her a bit more credit. You tried to see where she's coming from and that kind of thing. So I appreciate that post, the post. So you're 27 and she's 29 and you're talking about this. And the reason why I brought this up is because we were talking about ghosting people. And the reasons why we ghost people is because we are not being heard. We just continue to say the same thing over and over and over and over and over again. But they don't listen. They don't make any changes. They don't acknowledge us. Or we don't know how to express ourselves. And I see those two things coming up in this post right here. I see two things coming up where you have said over and over again, hey, these are my feelings, and she ignores them. And then you've also said, I don't know how to express it any better. Perhaps listen to this podcast, and they're like not willing to do so. Okay, so what will we do about this? Well, my thoughts are that I'm thinking about how I took a big sigh. I'm like, just kind of like, oh man, because what I'm going to say is just kind of, okay, I would just say the words. You're trying to change her because you're triggered about what she says. And it's you who is uncomfortable and not her. So she will not listen to you. It's you who needs to make the changes to connect with her. I said it. Oh my God, I said it. I said it. You might want to ghost her. Oh, I said that too. Oh, I said it too. I'm just having a little fun, y'all. But seriously, listen. She's not listening to you. And you're triggered by her behavior. She's unwilling and uninterested to change. What keeps you locked in this kind of pattern? What keeps you stuck here with a person who upsets you frequently? That would be my question for you, because I'm looking at you because you're the one who wrote this post and you want some insight. And it says that, has anyone dealt with anything similar or have any advice how to talk to her in a way that she might be receptive to? And of course I have that for you. Of course. If you want someone to change, you make the change. You change. You become somebody different, and they will respond to you differently because they have to. Because you no longer dance with them in the way that you've danced before. The pattern is different. They have no choice but to change. So what do we change here? Well, it's all about you and being triggered. It is you who has a desire to change her, right? It's you who is uncomfortable with how she treats her body or talks about her body. It's you who is uncomfortable about her asking you about how she looks because she's insecure. That activates something in you, that triggers you, and that's something that you even said. That's why I appreciate this post so much. It's because you recognize that. So the thing is, you want her to stop triggering you. You want her to stop saying those things that are fatphobic and stop triggering you. But you won't be able to do that until you own your own self. Until you're like, that's not a big deal to me. That's not a big deal that you are, that she says those things. It's you who wants to change the way she expresses and thinks about her own body. So that's something that is important to note. She probably has body dysmorphia, but you're not acknowledging that. This is something that you said. I understand that she probably has body dysmorphia, but she's not discriminated based on their body weight at any means, at all. She probably has a figure that you might admire, right? She may have that, but it is about you understanding that she feels how she does about her body. She's incredibly insecure. And every time you come to her and she says, I'm insecure, I look away that I don't know I should, and I want somebody to tell me, that it's okay for me to feel this way. They're not asking you for that comments on their body type, really. They're asking for validation that it's okay to feel the way they do. Of course, you feel like you've gained so much weight or that you're chunky because of XYZ, ABC, whatever you know. XYZ and ABC are the experiences that you know about the person in their life. You validate them. You're like, of course, absolutely. Well, people ask me if they look fat. I do not lie to them. I tell them how I feel. Like, okay, no, you look just fine. And you're like, are you sure? Like, yes, you don't trust me? And then we kind of dig into why they think that they look fat, or why they're not comfortable with their body. Because being fat is not a bad thing. It's their mindset about the thing. And they won't be able to talk about what causes that discomfort with them if they're in a place where they're constantly being told that they are not what they seem. Somebody has to step in and validate that. Yes, I can see how you look a bit chunky, or why you believe that you look like you do. I can see that. Tell me more about it. You're not a therapist. I get it. Not a therapist out there. I get it. Like a therapist would probably come in for that kind of situation. But I hope that you understand that everybody wants to be heard, understood, and appreciated. And when someone shares with you how they feel about something, their weight, what they like, how tall they are, their insecurities, the music that they like, the movies that they like, the people that they hang out, how they feel about something, they want somebody, regardless of how you might feel, they want them to say, yeah, I can see why you feel that way. And then, and only then, can you change their mind. Can you have a conversation with them about why they're feeling what they do? What experiences have they had to make them feel what they do? Now, get it? It's work. That's why I'm a coach. That's why people hire me, to get through that stuff. I get it. It's work. It's work. Maybe you don't want to dig that deep, but you are being triggered by them expressing their authentic feelings about how they feel about themselves. And every time they express something, you look at them with your envious eyes. You're like, their body is just fine. What the flip? That's triggering me. And then you say something like, you shouldn't feel that way. Okay. I don't want you to continue to do that. You asked me for advice. Well, not specifically me, but you asked for advice. And this is the thing. Validate their feelings. Try to understand what's going on with them, about them feeling like they are not good enough. They look undesirable. They feel undesirable. And you're going to be able to have a better conversation with them. But the only way that you can validate their feelings, if you understand what's triggering you, to tell them no. So that's what I recommend for you to do. Do some self-reflection, introspection, understand where that trigger is coming from, and turning it off so that you can have a great conversation with your friend, so that she can feel more secure. When you feel more secure about who you are, you can help your friend feel more secure about who they are. Redditor, thank you so much for asking your question. I know that you didn't ask me to answer it, but I did, and I hope that it helps. Best of luck to you. Take care. My name is Coach Lee Hopkins, and you have been listening to the Patterns of Possibility podcast. You can find me at patternsofpossibility.com and on all social media at Patterns of Possibility. And as always, I want to encourage you to be yourself, live your truth, and there you'll make lasting friendships.